Miso, girl, you living your best life. I'm jealous. Alright, let's talk about the elements of the introduction that is expected of you to include. The first of these elements is introducing the text. At some point in your introduction, you should identify the core text details, the author or director, the text type, and the title. Here's an example of a Rear Window introduction. See how the director, Alfred Hitchcock, the text type, romantic thriller film, and title, Rear Window, have been clearly identified. This is what you should replicate in your own introduction. The next essential element is your contention. A contention is where you state your overall stance on a prompt. A strong contention will be a direct and relevant response to the prompt and will present an argument about the prompt rather than simply repeating the prompt or saying something general like, the text explores this. Strengthening the quality of your contentions is a great way to take the quality of your introduction to the next level. In this A+ example, you can see the contention clearly in the second line. The film appreciates, while simultaneously challenging, traditional expectations of marriage and interpersonal relationships from the era. This is a strong contention because it is direct and relevant to the prompt and sums up the student's stance too. You should also definitely include your main arguments in your introduction. For most text response essays, this will be 3 main arguments to align with 3 body paragraphs. In this example, you can see that Hitchcock justifies the fear of commitment by presenting the audience with negative illustrations of married life. Is argument 1. However, these negative perceptions are juxtaposed with examples of marital bliss. Is argument 2. And these contrasting depictions enable Hitchcock to cast a deeper insight into the truth and complexity of human relationships. Is argument 3. Strong arguments will be clear, relevant to the prompt, and easily distinguishable between them. Now let's talk about optional elements. Once you've included these 3 main elements, you can start to think about what else you might like to include in your introduction. Your introduction doesn't have to be structured in one specific way either, so we'll discuss different structure options a bit later. One option to add into your introduction is a thematic sentence. A sentence at the very start of your introduction which demonstrates your understanding of the prompt by conveying your initial ideas before you introduce the text. Most text response introductions start by introducing the text, so a thematic sentence is a unique way to set yourself apart and demonstrate your insight into the prompt from the outset of your essay. Here's an example of if we were to add a thematic sentence from the Rear Window introduction from earlier. Another optional element for your introduction is historical context. Historical context is where you acknowledge the social, political, historical, or geographical setting of the text. Introducing brief historical context within your introduction can be a good way to demonstrate more of your understanding of the text, and because historical context is general rather than prompt specific, you can develop a historical context sentence for you to apply across your text response essays as you wish. Here's an example of if we were to add some historical to the Rear Window introduction from earlier. Let's talk structure. So now that you know the 3 main elements you need to have in your introduction and have considered thematic sentence and historical context as additional options, let's consider the different ways you can structure your introduction. If you opt to include a thematic sentence, this will be the first sentence of your introduction. After this, you will introduce the text and will include historical context if you wish to. You can decide to include your contention at this point, like in the example, or you can move straight onto your arguments and come back to the contention in the last sentence of your introduction instead. See what this would look like if we decide to switch the contention to being the last sentence. As you can see, having the contention as the last sentence is a good way to give your introduction a sense of finality. Finally, let's consider some tips and tricks to up-level your quality of your introductions. Firstly, try to integrate the words of the prompt to demonstrate that your essay is immediately relevant from the outset. Ensure that you use synonyms for the prompt's keywords too, to prevent your introduction being repetitive. Secondly, spend time practicing writing contentions and argument sentences, because these aspects of your introduction really enable you to signpost where your essay is going. It's important that your contention and arguments are strong, clear, and consistent with the direction of your essay. Lastly, experiment with the structure of your introduction. Play around with the order of different elements to see which option you prefer, and seek feedback as you go to establish which order tends to be most successful for you. I hope this video has given you new ideas and tips to help you take your essay to the next level. For heaps more valuable information on text response writing, including over 10 sample essays and details about the entire writing process, be sure to check out our How to Write a Killer Text Response study guide. You can download a preview for a taste of what the study guide offers too. The link is just on the screen. If you like this video, then I think you're really gonna like next week's video too, because we're going to be diving into how to write A+ body paragraph. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, then make sure you do that so you can stay updated, and I'll see you guys next week.